Hello guys. Today in this video I'm going to talk about a question someone has asked me. His question is how to find quant jobs in Europe. I have been in Europe for last over a decade now. So I will share based on my own or experience of living and working in Europe for the last over 10 years. But I've also seen other people moving to Europe from other countries. So I'll share my experience. In Europe you will find people coming from China, from Korea, from India, from other parts of Asia, but also many from Africa and Eastern Europe. So I'm going to share, my views as to how you can find jobs in Europe in the field of finance, quant finance in particular. But the advice that I give you will be, more or less same for other finance jobs as well, but also other jobs in general. Need not be just quant jobs. Even if you're interested in a career in tech or data science, digital marketing, other career, some of the things that I'll be sharing in this video will also be useful there, if not all. By the way, just to start with a disclaimer, my experience is only in the field of finance. I am not experienced in other fields. So if you're coming from a different field, so take with a pinch of salt, and obviously do your own research, right, beyond what you hear from me. All right, so let's dive into it. Well, if you want to make it easy, the best way is to first come for higher education in Europe. For master's degree, I wouldn't advise you to come for bachelor degree. Although many people from China, also some part of other parts of Asia also come here for the bachelor programs. In my view, I think the bachelor programs are quite good in Asia, and nobody will give a job directly right after your bachelor degrees in Europe. Unlike in the US, where you can find good jobs even after doing your undergraduation, here in Europe you have to do a master's degree, right? So in order to make it a bit more cost effective, it's better to do your bachelor degree in your home country, and I assume that it's a lot less expensive in your home country compared to that in Europe, and come for your master's degree in Europe. And master's degrees are mostly 1 year degrees. Some master's degrees are 2 year degree programs. Research master's degrees are 2 year degree programs. But I advise you, if you're coming for a career in finance, go for the 1 year master's programs, less expensive, and you will have to just spare 1 year to finish the degree, and right after that you can start working. So that's a good way of coming to Europe for a career in finance. And you don't have to just be in an MBA finance program, because normally people think that if you want to make a career in finance, you have to do an MBA finance. But that's not the case in Europe. Actually, in Europe you will find people from all kinds of academic background working in finance, right? Obviously there are more people from MBA finance, MA economics, MSc finance, or MSc quant finance, or MSc in econometrics. So these are the fields where you will see most people coming from. But there are also people coming from other background like mathematics, statistics, data science. Even I've seen people coming from legal background working in the field of finance. So if you're very sure that you're going to work in finance, then better to do something that is related to finance, such as economics, MBA finance, and so on. But some people have this notion that you have to go for MBA finance, which is very, very expensive, right? If you're not able to afford that, the next best thing to do is to go for a master's degree in economics, or quant finance, or just a finance masters, right? Or a mathematics, statistics masters, econometrics masters. That will also be good. If you are very sure about making a career in quantitative areas, such as in risk management, in risk modeling, quant trading, research, then better to go for a master's degree in quant finance or financial engineering or econometrics. Data science also is fine. Okay, so be sure about these things, right, before coming here. Um, Other than that, there are also other ways in which you can come to Europe for your work. Like I did not pursue my masters in Europe. Okay, so I was in a way a bit lucky that I didn't have to spend money to come to Europe for my master's degree and wait for 1 year and then get a job. So okay, it's a bit more difficult to come directly from outside of Europe to work here in the field of finance. In other areas, it's a bit easier, but in the field of finance, where the entry barrier is a bit more compared to in other industries, I would say it's a bit more difficult, but it's not impossible, right? There are always uh, jobs out there, companies looking for people from around the world, but it's good to get some experience in your home country, and good to have experience with large multinational firms. If you're in India or you're in China or you're in other parts of Asia, I'm sure you have companies from around the globe based out there, especially in India, but also in other countries in Asia, but also some part of Africa as well. I know there are multinational banks, multinational trading firm, asset management firm, insurance companies, consulting firms out there. So try to get some experience there, right? Nobody's going to hire you fresh out of university in Europe, right? If you're doing a master's degree in India or China, you're not going to get hired directly from there, right? Get some experience there in the home country for a couple of years with a large MNC, gain some good skills, and then look for jobs in Europe, different part of Europe. There are many countries where you can find jobs in Netherlands, in the UK, in Poland, in Austria, in Germany. I think Germany is opening up in big way. Many companies are hiring in Germany, outside of Germany. So, look for jobs there. Spain as well. I have friends going to Spain, Portugal as well, Ireland, even Scandinavian countries such as Denmark and Finland and Norway. There's so many actually from abroad going there and finding jobs. So the second best option, as I said, is to get some high quality experience with a large multinational bank such as Citibank, JPMC, or Morgan Stanley or Wells Fargo, that kind of a company in your home country, or at a consulting firm such as EY, KPMG, because these are very well-known companies. If you worked with these companies and you have experience on your CV working for these large MNC firms, then people from abroad, right, from the European companies, will give you some value, and they will you value your experience, and you're likely to be invited for interviews. If you have experience just in the local companies in your home country, chances are less. It's not impossible, but the chances are somewhat less. Okay, so that's something I want to share. There are obviously other ways to find jobs. The third way, which is that find connections in these countries, right? If you have LinkedIn connections, if you have people working in companies or European countries from your own universities, your university seniors, your batchmates, or somebody from your family, extended family, or just someone that online, right? Doesn't have to be your direct connection, but someone you just know from LinkedIn, from whatever sources. Just reach out to them, ask them for reference. There's nothing like getting a reference from someone who is already based in Europe. That's the perhaps the best way to increase your chances, right? And in finance, there are different kinds of jobs, right? If you are looking for jobs in front office and you are best in a offshore location, it's a lot more difficult to find those jobs. Having said that, it's always good to get those front office jobs in your home country, and take an internal transfer. Like I know people who work at Deutsche Bank in Mumbai in India, and then they take an internal transfer to the office in Frankfurt or Berlin or Munich or London. I know people working at Morgan Stanley in Mumbai, and then moving to Morgan Stanley in New York or London. Same with Citibank. I've seen people, in fact, some of my students in the past who used to work in Citibank in Bangalore. Many of them have moved to US, but also Singapore. right? So try getting a job at a multinational firm in your home country, and take an internal transfer, especially for front office roles. Okay, for back office roles such as or middle office roles such as risk management, compliance, or quantitative modeling, and so on. Not all quant modeling is back office, middle office type. There's some also on the front office side. But if you're working more on the middle or back office side, I think there are more and more jobs out there in Europe where you can directly apply from offshore location or from abroad. That's less in front office jobs, simply because it's front office jobs are very difficult to get. Also, second, the thing is that in Europe actually there are so many people chasing these jobs, so it's a bit more difficult therefore to get these jobs from abroad. That doesn't mean that people don't get these jobs directly from abroad. I have seen people getting these jobs directly, especially in trading, actually trading and asset management. Imagine you work at BlackRock in India, in Gurgaon, their office, right? And you have good experience there. It's quite likely someone like a company like Robeco, which is based in Rotterdam in Netherlands, will hire you, right? They probably will prefer hiring a guy with experience at BlackRock in Gurgaon compared to someone in Germany or Netherlands who doesn't have quality experience, right? So that is definitely a possibility. Like, but if you are applying for a job, let's say at a front office role for companies like Deutsche Bank or ING or Danske Bank or these banks in Europe, quite less likely that they will hire directly from someone working at let's say ICICI Bank uh, as a relationship manager in Mumbai. Less likely. So that's something I wanted to share with you. That make sure that you have some experience with international companies which are operating in various locations and not just in a given country. Most Indian companies are Indian companies. Most Asian companies, I would say, are Asian companies. There are not many multinational firms out of Asia, but in Europe and in the US, you will find many such companies working in various locations. Okay, so that's something I wanted to share. For quant roles specifically, I would say, there are so many roles out there in Europe. Quant roles are very technical roles, right? These are not purely front office roles, I would say. Although in trading firms, I would say many jobs in quant areas are front office roles, wherein you will be taking the decisions, you will be talking to clients sometimes, you will also be doing business development and so on and so forth, and next to your technical work. So in those roles, I would say that there's a higher probability that somebody would be hired from Asian countries or from African countries, provided he or she has good skills, right? And there's a perception that people coming from Asian countries like India and China and Indonesia, they're quite good in maths and programming. It's not always the case, in my view. But there's a perception, thanks to the good impression that people have created over these years in in various tech fields. So you have that advantage if you're applying from China or from India or Indonesia or Philippines, that you must already be good in technical areas. So take advantage of that. So people have this perception. Things have changed a bit in the last 3 years. During COVID, but before COVID, there was this massive hiring happening in Europe, and they were hiring from all over the globe, and they were hiring from Africa and India and China. But things have changed. Now companies are, first of all, they're not hiring a lot of people. Hiring has stagnated or stopped in many places, but they're not also willing to hire from abroad because the cost is more, because of visa sponsorship, relocation allowance, and so on and so forth. But things will change. Things will get better, obviously. um, you know uh, you will never you will this it's nothing like we'll always have this employment crisis or macroeconomic crisis forever. So things will definitely change in the future. So keep an eye and keep trying. For any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me. Thanks, guys.